Today's webinar is on Vision Service Plan. We are proud to introduce our VSP integration where you're able to send orders and claims directly from ManagementPlus to VSP. We're going to go through and show you how that is done, including what needs to be set up on your system prior to sending these orders across to VSP. So we're going to go ahead and just jump right into this. The very first thing that we need to make sure is that you are set up with with VSP, okay? And then we need to obtain a requester ID, a password, and an office ID from VSP. The number that you guys would need to call to get that is simply the VSP support. I did find the phone number on their website, on Eyefinity's website yesterday. So there's not a specific person or department that we need to talk to. However, we do need to make sure that you do obtain the requester ID, password, and the office ID from VSP. Now, this is different information than what you use to log into their website, and VSP is aware of the difference, and they should be able to provide that to you. The reason we need that is in our ManagementPlus, under File Administration System Properties, there is a VSP area where we essentially turn it on, and we have to have that information. You can see on the screen the requester ID, the password, and the office ID that is unique to your office. We also need to specify from your coverage plan table which insurance is your VSP. That way, when we are entering these VSP plans on your patient account, the system recognizes, okay, well, this is VSP, so now we're going to move forward with the integration process instead of just having you put in an order. Okay? Once that is set up, there are a few things that need to be set up in your inventory. Okay? So under File, Optical Setup, your Inventory Maintenance, the frames and the lenses will need to have a few pieces of information added. All right? So the screen we're looking at right now, this is our frame inventory item. And down at the bottom where you see this green box, there is a VSP tab. Okay? VSP does require that we have the supplier and the material entered for every frame. If this is done at the inventory level, you will not have to go forward into every single optical order that you do and make sure you select that information. It needs to just be set up here, especially that supplier. Okay? So under frames, you will need to click on that VSP tab and enter that information. Now these drop-downs are populated by information we got from VSP when we were setting up this integration. So you will not need to edit or add anything to it. We can populate those lists for you if you decide to move forward with VSP integration. Okay. The next screen is your lens types. Okay. So these are all of our lenses in the inventory. Again, under item-specific information, there's the VSP tab. And we need to enter the type of lens, the style, and the material for that lens. Those are required by VSP, and those need to be entered. Okay. Now, contacts, the reason I'm showing you this is just so you can see that under item-specific information for contact lenses, there is not a specific VSP tab. They do not require any additional setup. However, we can still send those contact lens orders across through our system to VSP. So you won't have to do anything in your contacts. Okay? So now we're going to jump over to the patient's account. Patient, like I mentioned before, does need to have VSP as their coverage plan. VSP can be entered as a primary and a secondary if that is what is true for that particular patient. VSP, when we do this integration, it will recognize both plans. One is a primary, one is a secondary, and it will provide us an authorization for each coverage plan. Now, with this VSP setup, we can also verify eligibility. Okay, there's two ways to do it. We can use this eligibility tab up at the top, or we can right-click on the coverage plan here and verify that eligibility. In order for the eligibility to work, we have to have the full insured ID number in this box. Now, I know that a lot of situations now you can just enter the last 4 of the patient's social, but in this case, for this to work the way they set it up, it does have to be the full ID number of that patient. If you have the group number, you can enter that also. However, it does need to be entered in full. It cannot just be a partial group number, okay? Now, if this patient has medical and optical benefits for VSP, you can mark both boxes, medical plan and optical plan, and it will work just fine as well, okay? So as far as the eligibility goes, like I said, we can right-click and verify eligibility from the insurance screen, okay? Once we do, that's going to connect to VSP, and it's going to return this eligibility report for us, okay? It has the patient's information up at the top, and then it's going to go through the services and give you an idea of what their benefits are, okay? You can run eligibility by individual or by a batch. For those of you using Relay Health, it's the same process as you would run eligibility for any of your other insurances, okay? Simple right-click, verify eligibility. The report is going to open for you, and that report is saved in the patient's insurance VSP plan under the eligibility tab, so you can always refer back to it, okay? So now we have our eligibility verified. Now we're going to go in and actually put in the patient's optical order. As far as entering the order, we're going to just kind of start at the top. As far as entry goes, your process is the same, okay? You still have a status, who's responsible. You do have to have everything in this box filled out, so there has to be a diagnosis. You have to have a place of service and type of service, physician, exam date, and the patient's prescription. Now, if any of that is missing, VSP just will stop the order, and you'll have to just go back and correct it, okay? They won't put it through. This is required because of the claim that is sent electronically in addition to the order going across electronically, okay? So it is important that all of that is there. After that, you're going to choose your frame, your lenses, and then any add-ons that you need to send on that particular order or contacts, whatever it may be. Orders sent to VSP can be any combination, frames, lenses, contacts, exam, okay? You can send just an exam from here simply by clicking the Add Edit Exam button over on the left side of your optical order screen. That's going to give you an exam tab. You would go in, put in the office exam, send the information across to VSP just like we will this glasses order that we'll look at in just a moment, okay? So that being said, we have all of our information filled out that is required by VSP. So then we can go back over to our order summary screen. Once we're at this order summary screen, verify your order just like you do now. And then instead of hitting your post order button, we're going to hit VSP, okay? Now, VSP is the same as clicking post order. You just get a little more functionality with it with this VSP integration, okay? The VSP button is the same permissions as the post order. So if you can typically go in and post orders, you can post VSP. If you cannot, then you won't be able to use VSP, all right? Now, this is going to make more sense in just a moment, but the VSP button, like I said a moment ago, is the same as posting an order. It is going to post the order to your optical. It's going to also, when we get done with this, it will have flipped the flag on that claim to say we have processed this to VSP, so it's no longer sitting out there waiting to process. You don't have to go suspend it. It's just marked as, yep, we have processed this to VSP, okay? So we click our VSP button, and then it's going to give us this new little window, okay? Now, basically there's 4 steps to this. You can see those on the screen. Step 1 is we're going to select the benefits and services. So in this benefit drop-down, We're going to choose the appropriate benefit. The services, is it all services? Is it exam? Is it just glasses? Whatever the case is, okay? Then we need to choose the vendor. Who are we sending this, what lab are we sending this order to? Okay, this list does come from VSP also. We're not able to just go in and edit and add to it. It is based on the labs that you can send your orders to, okay? Now, to obtain an authorization number, you can still go out to VSP's website and get your authorization number. That's fine. You can also just come in here and click New Auth, and that is going to connect to VSP and get an authorization for this patient for the benefit services that you have selected. Okay. If you have an existing authorization, then we would click Existing Auth. It's going to connect to VSP and find the essentially open authorization or existing authorization that has already been generated. Okay. If you needed to delete the authorization number that you have and get a new one, then we can hit this delete authorization, and it will delete the current or open authorization for that particular patient. Now, when you click New Auth or Existing, the authorization number is going to pull into the primary authorization box. It will only pull into the secondary authorization if that patient has that VSP plan set up twice or you need a second number, okay? Well, one for exam, one for glasses. This is all coming from VSP. We've just integrated it so you don't have to log out, log into their website and just kind of work on both screens, all right? So once we have the authorization number, we can hit Calculate Order. When we click Calculate Order, that is going to run through the order and check for valid information. VSP is doing these checks, okay? VSP is looking at the lenses, any lens options, the prescription, making sure that what you are trying to order for this patient can be ordered together. If you've selected an option that's not available on that particular lens, it will alert us and not basically give you an error and not allow us to put that order through, okay? Now, once that verification is done of the order, then we can click Build Claim. Build Claim is going to run through more of the billing edits and build the claim and actually send the order and the claim at the same time to VSP, okay? Now, we're going to look at the messages that you'll see from these two buttons in just a moment, but before we move on, I want to just kind of talk about the other half of this window. The boxes that are in the center, all of these little check boxes, refraction, dilation, diabetes, hypertension, these are boxes that are going to be based on each patient. If it's applicable to the patient, did you refract them today, were they dilated, etc., then you want to check those boxes. Our understanding from VSP is that these are optional for reporting purposes. They're not required. So if none of them are applicable, then you can come in here and click None, but it's not required, okay? Again, that's what we were informed by VSP. Now, over on the very right side, we have a few other option buttons. The VSP website will simply take you out to their website, so you can log into their website and do what you need to do from here. The news is going to show any news that VSP has posted. We have been told that that is not commonly used, but that's what it's for. The member information is going to provide information regarding this particular patient, okay, and then of course we've just got Close. Now, going back to the Calculate Order and Build Claim, when you click Calculate Order, it's going to give you a message that says order calculated successfully, or it is going to give you a message that says, hey, you cannot order this and this together, okay? And then you would need to fix that and redo this step. Once we click Build Claim, it's going to flip the flag to say, yes, this was processed to VSP. It's going to show that the claim is currently processing instead of waiting to process, and it's also going to post the order all at once, okay? And then it will give you this alert that says your lens or frame or contact or exam, whatever you have ordered, has been successfully submitted to the lab for processing. Okay, this is a verification that the order has been sent, and like I mentioned, this verbiage is going to change based on what you've ordered for that patient. Okay, so you do get confirmation that it was successful. If for whatever reason it was not successful, if there is an error or something that needs to be changed, it will tell you specifically what's wrong with it and what you need to fix. Okay. Now the next screen is just going to show you confirmation that the order was posted and it moved that order to previous orders. Okay. You can see here on this screen the claim shows processing. It's no longer waiting to process. It did flip that flag on its own to say it was processed to VSP. Okay. As far as posting orders, that's really the difference. Is aside from the few things that need to be set up, it's really this one screen that is different. Okay. We're going to calculate, verify everything on the order is correct. We're going to send the claim and the order at the same time to VSP, saving you the time of logging in and putting those orders online, or all of the claims that you have to make sure you suspend or go back and flip the flag so that VSP is not sitting in your claims processing forever. Okay. Now the cost for VSP is $1,500 for the first physician and $1,000 for each additional physician. So one-time fee through ManagementPlus, and we'll add 17% to your annual maintenance and license fees. The module itself, the VSP module, will do claims and eligibility, but VSP still is not granted access for the electronic remits. So you will get your payments just like you normally do. Now VSP is charging a one-time setup fee per client. It's not per doctor, it's just per client of $125. And then their charges at this point, and they told us they are subject to change, is they charge 29 cents per eligibility transaction and 49 cents per claim transaction. Those are the fees that we were given by VSP. Okay. And so for VSP modules, $1,500 for the first physician in your office and $1,000 for each additional physician in your office. Now, when I say physician in your office, this is the physicians that are signed up for VSP, that are using VSP, okay? If you have 10 doctors in your office and only 5 of them are registered with VSP or using VSP, then it would just be the 5, not all 10, okay? So there are a few questions that we want to go through that have come in. Yes, you have to have the optical portion of ManagementPlus in order for this to work. It does not work through the financial form or anywhere else. You have to have that optical module. Can we set up 2 primary insurances? No, it's only one primary insurance. There's only one coverage plan that is linked to the VSP setup, okay? Another question is, where can we obtain group number from VSP? Patients are not giving us a group ID that we're aware of. My understanding is the group ID is not required. You can get that eligibility without the group ID as long as you have the member ID. Okay, so unless they gave it to you, I don't know where else you would get that. Okay. Eligibility check for VSP requires additional payment to VSP in addition to Relay Health. Relay Health has nothing to do with this VSP integration. It is just VSP that charges the eligibility checks. We do not do any of it through either of the clearinghouses. This is strictly from VSP. Okay. For the inventory, question is, for the lens setup, do we need to add or create a lens type for each type of material? As far as I know, the lens type, I'm going to flip back over to that screen. Okay, the lens type, is it single vision, bifocal, trifocal, progressive? I'm not aware that they want a different lens type for each material, okay, because they're getting the material as well. And again, they've given us these lists, so whatever's in the drop-down, you'll notice you don't have a search button, so you're just going to choose from whatever's in that drop-down, because that's what VSP has required of us to do, okay? All right. Let's see, I'm just trying to find any other questions that have come in. When you delete an authorization, does a new one automatically populate, or do you have to choose new authorization? If you delete an authorization, you do then have to click new authorization to get that. It will not automatically populate for you. Okay. Let's see. The patient savings statement, let me go back into that screen. I actually do not have a screenshot of that savings statement. However, on this screen, yes, it is grayed out right now, but we can print a savings statement. That was our newest addition to VSP from when we were working with them. So you can print that out from here. There is not, at this point, I don't know if it's going to change, but as far as a packing slip, there is not one that prints out from this screen. I'm trying to get more information on that, so just let me work on that, and then we can send out information regarding the packing slip or discuss it with you one-on-one if you decide to move forward with this. Okay. Let me see. All right, so on material options, we choose the lens type, and currently we use lens options to add the material cost. We'd have to go into inventory maintenance on every order to set the material. Now, with the material, you can select the material. I'm going to go backwards one more time. You can set the material on each patient's order, but you notice on this screen when you choose your frame and your lens, the same, like the lens type and up at the top, the lab supplier or lab supplied is not an option on the patient level. Yes, you can choose the material on a patient by patient basis. That's fine. But there are a few of those fields that you would need to set up at the coverage plan level and not through each patient account. Okay, so anything that would remain the same, lens type, a single vision is a single vision, that information you can set, and then you can change the material and continue to use lens options as you do right now. Okay. I had another request for the pricing information. So with the pricing information, in order to have this VSP integration or the VSP module, it's $1,500, $1,500 for the first physician and $1,000 for each additional physician for the doctors in your office that are signed up or using VSP. Okay, that does add 17% to your annual maintenance and license that you have yearly or every 6 months, whatever it's set up at. Now VSP is charging a $125 one-time setup fee per client, not per physician, but per client. And then at this point, which these could change, they charge you 29 cents per eligibility transaction and 49 cents per claim transaction that we send through ManagementPlus. Those are their fees, and they have said that those are subject to change. They control that. We really can't say much more about it. That's a decision on their part. Okay, so looks like there are a few other questions that I'm going to follow up with individually because they're more specific. I do not see any others that have come in, but certainly if you do think of any, let me know. And we will be more than happy to get those questions answered for you. I know that with this being new, there's a lot of questions that are coming in, and we're happy to answer those. And if we don't have the answer, we're happy to get that answer for you. So let me, we can send this information out to you if that's something that you would like. Just email support, and we can send this presentation over to you. And if you have questions that you think of later, certainly let us know. Otherwise, I appreciate your time today, and hopefully this was a little bit, helpful, and you got some new information. And I appreciate your time and hope you all have a great weekend. Thanks. Bye.